Hi everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome to the S Factor Studio. I'm here to share some embellishment packaging. Bona Rivera Tran, who is LiveLoveScrap, she has a video and I believe it's titled Embellishment Packaging. So I will link that video in the description below. This is just my version of that packaging. She used a couple of tools that I don't have, so I had to adjust. And she did give measurements for the bags that the packaging that she made. However, just because of the way my brain works, I always have to figure out a way to create and craft for what works for my brain and figuring out the measurements. So the packaging is made based off of the clear bag that you're going to use. I love this. Is like one of my favorite ways to package things. I think it's easy and I like the way it looks with bag toppers as well as with this particular packaging. So the measurements are based off of the bag, and for me what that means is once I put the items in the bag and I have sealed the bag, that's where I measure from. I did show some of this packaging already made in the last video of my project share to Becky Long's challenge, but of course I've mailed that out. So I'm using these embellishments that were made by Sharing More, who is Ebony, or rather Ebony, who is Sharing More here on YouTube. And once they're in the clear bag and I have sealed the clear bag, I'll measure. So this one is, if you can see, it's about 5. So for me, the easiest way to remember how to size my paper would be the bag size times 2, and then I add 1/2 inch on the bottom and 1.5 inches on the top. So that's what I use. The bag size by 2, add 1/2 inch on the bottom and 1.5 inches on the top. So if this bag, the height is 5, I would go 5 times 2, which is 10. Add the plus a 1/2 inch would make that 10.5, and then 1.5 inches to the top would make that 10, 11, 12 inches. So for a 12 by 12 piece of paper, for me, the largest height I could do would be 5 inches. And I hope this is making sense. So again, that's for the height. That's for the height of the bag. For the width of the bag, I would just take whatever the size of the bag is. This is almost 4 3/4 maybe. So I would add, for the width, I add 1/4 inch to whatever the width of the bag is. So the width of my bag, I add 1/4 inch, and then for the height, it's the height of the bag times 2, add 1/2 inch, add 1.5 inches. For me, I don't know if it sounds complicated or not. I'm not sure if I'm like explaining it well enough, but for me this is the easiest way, because this way I don't have to worry about measurement. I kind of, you know, take an overall estimate of the bag, and then I just add the extra inches or the extra measurement. All right, so this is what I did. So this paper here is cut. I made a large one and a small one. So this one would not be for this bag. I'm going to show you the larger one in a second. I had to prep it beforehand. So this one is cut at 4 1/4. So if I have a 4-inch wide bag, this is cut at 4 1/4 by 12. So if you have, you know, if it's a patterned paper and you're looking at the paper, you want to decide the orientation of your paper. So I know that I wanted this to be the top. This would be the front top part of my bag. So once I've established that, I'll go ahead. So this is, I'm calling this my bottom. I score, and this is my 1/2 inch. I score at 1/2 inch, and then I know it's 5. My bag was 5 inches, so I score at 1/2 inch, and then 5.5 inches. From there, I don't fold this 1/2 inch. I fold at the 5.5, and I'll see. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'll see where the edge of this paper is, and then I'll go 1/8. It's literally one line over. I'll go 1/8 over, and then I'll score there. So this is going to be the top. This is the front, and this is the top of my bag, and then I'll fold and burnish. From there, I use the 1/2 inch corner rounder, and I rounded the corners. So you see it coming together. This is the packaging coming together. Now, because I wanted it to be a little bit sturdier, you guys know me, I'm always talking about, you know, how sturdy I like things to be. What I did was I got some of these single-sided self-seal laminating sheets. So these are the self-laminating sheets, but it's only one side, it's not the pouch. And so this was the one I cut already, and this is the larger one for that size bag. And I you know, I removed part of the backing. I placed the paper, so the outer side, this is my inside, I placed the outer side against, of course, the sticky part of the lamination, and then I used my little Cricut scraper thingy and just made sure, you know, there's no bubbles and it's completely sealed. And I did it this way just because for me, you know, it's easier to see where to cut the rest off. You can hand cut, but I'm not great at it, and I like, sorry, I like sharper, you know, a cleaner edge. Let's see. So I put it in my trimmer, and of course I line it up, and again, I'm not sure how well I'm zoomed in, but you see the little line where the trimmer goes. I butt it up right against, so I know I'm coming just short of the edge of the paper. I trim that, and then I do the same. I don't know if you can see this little, there's a little bit hanging off. Before I do that, because my blade will get stuck in the sticky part, let me just do it this way. There we go. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just butting that edge so that I can trim that little part off, and I don't, you know, it's a straight, nice cut. So, of course, on my edges where I corner round, use the corner rounder, I'll go ahead and I'll cut. I'll use my scissors for that, because it's just that little bitty edge. And okay, so then this is what you have. So with that folded over, I'm going to cut a window. And so I know that's the window I'm going to cut, but I also wanted to put a border. So I took the next size up of this particular die set, and I want to position the larger one because I want to make sure I'm not too far up, too far down. You know, I want to position it right for where the border is going to be. And then that inner one, the inner piece is the piece I'm going to cut. And I'm going to use some Post-it tape just to hold this down. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my Big Shot and cut this off, and then I'll be right back. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera. Okay, I'm back. So I took that inner window that I was cutting out, and I ran it through the through my Big Shot. So there's the window. And then for this border here, like I showed earlier, I took the next, I took that next size up. I just taped them together, and I ran it through the Big Shot. So that gives me this border. Okay, so this is the border. My phone rang and I had to answer the phone. This border here is from the same paper, so rather than using the same side, I like to use the reverse side. And because this is laminated, I'm going to use some E6000, and I kind of, like, I don't use blobs of it, I kind of just drag the tip. I drag the tip along the edges of the border. And then because of, I can follow just those little edges, but either way, you'll be able to follow the edge of where you cut out. And I like to check the back just to make sure everything is even, and try not to play with that because the E6000 will take a little bit to dry. Okay, so there's the window and the border. So where I scored at that 1/2 inch, I do that just as a marker of where to put my closure. And right now I'm using these the Velcro dots, but I'm gonna go ahead and try and maybe put use snaps instead. But for now, the mark right there is kind of my guideline for my Velcro dots. And I like to go as far up to the top, but then move in a little bit, maybe, I don't know, what is that, maybe about 1/4 of an inch, and then just slightly down from the top. Now the inside is not laminated, so they'll stick. The Velcro sticks very easily. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side, about 1/4 of an inch, and then just slightly down from the top. And I put those on the inside there instead of on the outside, just because I think to me it looks cute. I didn't want to see like the Velcro dots, which means my flap is not going to stay closed. But what I do for that is I'll put some type of sticker or something with a light adhesive to hold it down. So then on the top, I use the smaller, what is this? Is this the crocodile? Yes, it's the crocodile. And I'm using the 1/8 side. And I like to look here. And just punching, am I in frame? I'm sorry. Punching a hole on either side, and I actually meant to do it closer. I'm going to use some of these eyelets. Okay, I've added the eyelets, and then at that point it's just a matter of, even the eyelets, it's just a matter of how you choose to decorate. But I think this is such an awesome idea. I love this paper. This is the K & Company paper, and of course you position your bag. And now my bag comes up to where the Velcro dots are, so I'll just fold the corner back or not. Like if I can get the top edges of the Velcro to attach to one another, for me it was holding and sealing the bag better anyways. And so you have the little window and the embellishments peeking through, and then this on top. And I'm going to go ahead and get one of these little stickers just so I can hold that down. Okay, so this is one of the K & Co puffy stickers. I took some ribbon and laced it through. Cut. Through my eyelets. Just trying to get it to face in the same direction. And then just tied a bow. Alright, I tied a small bow. I actually cut the ribbon too short. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that here. Kind of tuck the ribbon behind a little bit. And like I said, you can embellish, continue to embellish. So I did put, let me see if this is on. Nope. I'm going to put one of these flowers, and since it's paper to paper, I'm using my art glitter glue. Just adhere that there. And I prefer using the rhinestones, but my rhinestones are actually dwindling down, so I'm gonna have to get some more. So I'm using some of these little these faceted flatbacks that I think I got from, actually let me, and I'm just gonna place 3, so I'm putting a tiny dot. It's just easier for me right now to do it this way. Place that right on top. Try not to press down too hard because I don't like to see the glue come out from underneath the little bling. There you go. And I love it. I love how it's easy, and to me the paper does all the work. It does all the work, and I can still use the clear bags. And I love this idea. I love how this looks. So I hope this gives you guys some ideas. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. God bless, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.